Yeah, 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 yeah,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
We're
yeah, yeah,
not.
yeah, yeah,
Stop,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Doc.
yeah, 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 yeah. Okay.
Stop.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah.
Fucking- Hello.
Oh, hi. Sorry, I was blowing Ronald McDonald in the back.
I wasn't gonna bring it up because it's your personal life. You can do whatever and whoever you want.
Yeah.
But if it's gonna impact production quality,
Yeah, like everybody makes the joke of lipstick looks like a dog's erect penis. You should look at Ronald's dick.
is
What's
it
up, man?
okay? Feeling like I need to shower now.
You're fine. You're fine. You're fine. Moving on.
A lot of things going on. A lot of stuff that's
A lot of God of War.
a lot
maybe.
of God
Maybe
of
a little-
War. A lot of God of
Mhm,
War. Not something that I will be able to participate in.
Yeah. Well, maybe in 3 years, maybe.
Maybe.
Or what?
Yeah.
Yeah, 3 years.
Was it 3 for the first one before it brought it to PC, or was it 2?
Yeah, because it came out. No, because it was last year, right?
I think so.
So then, yeah, 3, because it was 2018 for the original release. No, it was 4. It came out this year. It came out this year in the summer. So 3.5 years.
Was it
Yikes.
this year, or was it? Oh my god, yeah.
It was. It
Wow.
was Miles Morales and
Isolation really does.
Spider-Man and
Isolation really does a shit to your timeline in your head. Holy shit!
It's compounded now.
The past 2 years have been the same year for the past 3 years. That's weird.
Yeah. That is one of the really crazy things about the marriage with the giraffe, where I feel like we've been married like 10 years now, and having been in a previous marriage that lasted 6, it feels like we were married longer than that. And then I look at the calendar and we've only been married. Yikes. Okay. All right. Never mind.
I have been married for almost 10 years, and I don't remember what it's like to be in a relationship outside of my wife.
Is that supposed to be like a "oh, honey, yay," woo," or like a just stating facts here?
Just stating facts. I don't. I think it's a good thing because I'm not trying to remember previous relationships, but it's also a stark realization that.
What do you mean you're not trying to remember past relationships?
What do I care about what's happened 15 years ago?
What?
I mean, what? It's not like it anything traumatizing or the having lasting emotional impact.
No,
Sure, but
it's like there's that's the whole point of having relationships, is it not? Like, you're discovering what you like, you're discovering what you don't like. So obviously you're thinking of previous relationships when you say, hey babe, can you scratch me right here? Can you do the thing that I like? Because otherwise, how the fuck would you discover?
because she exists. How do you think I know half the shit that I like in a relationship now?
Okay, right, got it. That's very, very sweet. But what's the other half? Like, it's from previous experiences, right?
Yes, but it's more okay. So I get what you're getting at, and I guess technically, yes, you search for the opposite of the things you didn't like.
I'm not saying
right?
every time that she scratches you right there, you think of your ex, but it's like
No,
you
but
got
it's
there
been
by-
it's been long enough that I no longer have.
I don't even remember my exes anymore.
No. It's more I don't have comparable situations anymore. I've gone through anything that I could say I did or didn't like from a previous relationship to apply to the current one. We've been together so long that it's not. I didn't last that long in previous relationships, right? So the amount of situations that could have arisen in those we've already been through and more. So there's no reason for me to recall previous
Interesting.
relationships. I've got,
I so obviously there's a core like red hot Venn diagram. There's a big one, right?
Mhm.
For all of them, all of my relationships.
Yeah.
But there's still a lot that's outside of from each relationship. Like each relationship
Okay.
was in its own different thing. Like I was very into one activity, one sport, or one way of life, maybe. And I don't think I share that with any of the other ones. It's just
See, for me,
like I'll do the activities like, hey, babe, I remember that I used to like this. Let's go try it out. But it doesn't become like
yeah,
the main thing, you know?
for me, it's I've got one circle, and that's it.
And it's spreading.
Yeah, it gets a little bigger. Sometimes
Yeah.
it might shrink. Depending on time or whatever. It happens. We get older. It's okay. But at the end of the day, really, what I've been looking for is the other half of that circle to be able to fit with my amorphous moving side of my Venn diagram. And
Yeah.
I mean, so far it's working out pretty well. Like,
Yeah, no, I'm not like attacking it in any way. I'm just like, dude, obviously there's things that you haven't done with your wife that you did with excess. With what's not excess, with excess.
nope.
Excess? Why am I pronouncing that incorrectly?
X
Excess.
X's X's
X's.
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 No,
X's.
X's. Remove the Hispanic for a second, and be
It's
Southern
also my mouth is
American.
so spiced out right now.
Just add a Z instead of an
So
S.
dry.
X's.
Hold on. Extras.
Mhm. It's still an S,
Got
but
it. Nailed
we
it.
heard it. We heard it. It's fine. Yeah. To be perfectly honest,
Excesso. Yes.
it's I know I sound contrarian here, and I'm not trying to be. I really haven't. I don't know if you remember me when I was younger.
Yes. Yes.
Me in relationships never. We didn't. Wasn't very good at them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. No,
So
I'm
they
tracking
didn't
that.
they didn't last that long, which means I couldn't really participate in that whole bonding scenario of like doing
so you only
stuff. And
had a very limited
yes,
experience in previous relationships.
I
So
had
now that you got
many.
to a
I had many, but they
right,
didn't.
that's
They
the
were
point.
heartless. They were
Yeah.
shallow. That kind of thing.
Right. But
yeah.
now you've done more
Yes.
with. Got it. Okay.
Yep.
Got
So
it.
I guess you're right.
That's
It's not necessarily that I've forgotten the X's. It's that I've exceeded the
yes.
experiences years ago, and
Yeah, and so if we're going off of like archetype, like going on a trip, well, yeah, right. Like if we're just going off of that, but specific things, um, I still have almost like a flower Venn diagram of like each one has its own, um, each one being its own petal, I guess. That I didn't want to do that with others, and it wasn't like, oh, I'm gonna cherish this memory forever and it'll just be ours. It was just like either I didn't want to be there, I didn't want to have that experience, um or I just don't want to repeat it
that's fair.
because it was just like I had the experience before. I'm good. I don't want to do that again.
That's fair. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's very cute that you have a overlapping
I guess my
like
flower is like there's a couple
mold
of
culture that's growing.
there's a couple of wilted petals from previous that I stopped watering because I
Yeah,
did whatever, and so now my petals are like my son, our pets, moving new places. So it's like I don't know. It sounds really like pathetic. Like me as a younger self didn't experience a whole lot. I did.
Just not
as a
growth wise.
as a child, I experienced things I shouldn't have. As an adult, I experienced things on my own rule set, my own accord. But still, I guess depending on how you look at it, things I shouldn't have. I don't know. I'm happy. I'm happy where I'm at.
Well, I'm glad you're happy.
Well, thank you.
One of us has to be.
True.
So speaking of happy, it seems that Henry Cavill was not very happy.
No. No. Good transition.
And I don't know if is it a happiness thing? Does money equal happiness? Because
I think what's going on is Cavill. Okay, so just a quick background check. This may or may not date the episode. That's fine. Cavill is no longer going to be the White Wolf. He's no longer going to be Geralt of Riviera. Olé. He's no longer going to be that. Okay. And
Yes.
how many nerds just got mad? I think what's happening is he doesn't want a repeat of the debacle with his previous iteration of Superman while he was also filming a Mission Impossible movie.
Mission Impossible.
Yeah. I don't think he wants that again. So I think what he's doing is instead of splitting his time, because he's a dedicated actor, he tries his best at the roles. He, does his...
Especially because he's casted for leading roles.
Yeah.
You're not putting fucking 6'3", 205 jacked Henry Cavill in the background and like cameo time.
Yeah.
He's gonna be your dude. So
he needs to dedicate that time to a role at a time, I feel like.
Yeah.
And I think that's what he's doing. He seems like a smart enough guy to know his limitations and to know the limitations of people's expectations. And I think that's what he's doing. There might be money involved too. I might be talking on my ass with this, right? But just on the surface level, especially with how he presented it, right? The way his commentary on it is nothing but positive. Bringing up Liam Hemsworth, which is the replacement.
Yeah, and for you, if you're watching editing, Anthony will put up the Instagram post now. There it is.
Mm-hmm.
Pause
I know how
to read it.
I know how to do that. That's yeah.
Yep.
That'll happen.
So it's gonna be Liam Hemsworth that replaces him. Yes. I read a comment that was like, "Oh, you mean high school man-child mistakes?" Liam Hemsworth.
So
and
let's start this off by at least me saying that ever since A Knight's Tale became the Joker, I no longer.
Right.
You know what?
Yeah.
Maybe they've got it. Maybe they've got it. Because holy metamorphosis Batman.
Well, I do want to say that what's the movie that Hemsworth, Chris, the Greater, just what's the Netflix movie? It's something like Conflict or something like that.
Oh, is it where he's like a Ricky Recon?
Yeah. So I remember reading that was supposed to go to Liam, and out of like Chris was producing, and Liam backed out or something happened, and then Chris was like, "All right, I guess I'm doing it." So he's had the opportunities, right?
Oh no.
So could Chris come in to save the day on this one?
God, to be perfectly honest, dude, I hope not.
He would be so much better.
He would be, but I don't want a poor Ricky Recon, college level humor. Don't get me wrong, he's good. He's good at the humor side. He can phone it in a little sometimes, but he's good at it. Like, the reason why Cavill did so well is he managed to combine people's expectations of Geralt from the video games with the actual representation of Geralt in the books. So you got to hear the gruff, I know this character's voice, I know his mannerisms from the video game, but through the storytelling of the books. So it was a very good combination of the two, which is why he was such a good fit. Now, he still looked out of place because holy jacked out of his brains, Batman. Right, but...
I mean, and that was him not being jacked.
Yeah.
That was
scary.
him building a PC.
To play World of Warcraft and almost miss so... But it's... I have faith that... Well, first off, it is not just because it's two different people, it will not be the same Geralt. He's going to talk differently. He's going to act differently. The portrayal of emotions is going to be different. We have to be okay with that. It's not going to be the same Geralt. Now it's incumbent upon the writers to at least, at the very least, keep the same level of storytelling, so that there is some basis of connection between the third and fourth seasons.
So the interesting part, and
what are they going to do about flashbacks?
Right. Well, it's back to being him. So, hey, Henry, can you come over? So, if you know what I'm talking about, let us know in the comments section. When Netflix has a very weird, HBO Max as well, they have a very almost unique way of telling a story, and that is incumbent on the fact that shows don't last more than 3 seasons on streaming platforms. And I can't remember if it was if it was a union type thing where, like, once it's 3 seasons, like, the staff can unionize, like the crew, the filming crew can unionize, and Netflix has always been like, fuck no, you're not doing that shit, go fuck yourselves.
Wouldn't put it past them.
So
they're a big company.
Well, no, I mean they've done it for multiple shows.
But that that's the reasoning, though.
Yeah.
Like, you're trying to unionize? We're just going to cancel you then.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's surprising for shows like Stranger Things, that big ones, that it seems like they're gonna make it. Like, oh shit, this show got really good. Oh, and then canceled. And it's like, wait, what happened? So, pre-pandemic, that was the norm, where Netflix would not put out a show. They would end up killing it on the second season or third, and then leave you on a cliffhanger. One of them was like the OA, the original Angel, the OA. And then the pandemic happened, and then, oh no, well, Pandy, oh look, guys, oh, we're trying, and it's hard. And the pandemic ended up killing a lot of shows that were already
on the chopping block.
This was going to be, was going to be the reason why, but it was blamed on the pandemic. Season 3 of Witcher hasn't come out yet, but they're already announcing this for season 4. It's going to be Liam Hemsworth. So there's at least a season 4. Okay.
They were talking about 4 and 5 being recorded back to back too.
Oh, okay. Well, we already have it in the can. Might as well release it, guys. Haha. I think it would be fucking hilarious if they released 3
and then cancel it.
And then cancel it. Just JK, we're not doing Liam, 4 and 5. And then Liam's like, oh.
That was considered. No. Doesn't that count as a credit? Like, can I put that on my IMDb?
Can I put it on my IMDb? Can I put it on there, please? So it wouldn't surprise me. I'm going to state that right now, that it gets canceled. Now, here's the thing, and you mentioned it. A Knight's Tale, Heath Ledger, 10 Things I Hate About You, bunch of other teen comedies. And then, holy fuck, the best Joker that we've ever had. live action,
Hmm.
because Mark Hamill still definitely interchangeable one or two with Heath Ledger overall. Um, so what if this is what? Holy shit! He just needed to be put in a character that is like fantasy related or like adjacent or whatever. Um, is he the new? Is he typecast for Renaissance Fair type of roles from now on?
I can't speak to Liam Hemsworth's acting. I don't recall the last movie that I watched of his. I can recall Chris Hemsworth's last movie because he's a much bigger star. No offense, Liam. But all I can say is I was doubtful of characters like Heath Ledger or I just dropped the name American Psycho.
Oh, Christian Bale.
Yeah, Bale. First off,
Mhm.
seeing him in American Psycho, anytime
Yeah.
he has a serious face, I immediately expect lying to me, blood to show up. He needs to return some videotapes, something, right? and then
Yes.
and then Batman comes up, and now
Mhm.
when I see a serious face, I assume he's contemplating violating uh, human rights in order to catch this unstoppable object, right? And that's not even taking into account what was it, the Mechanist or the Machinist?
Machinist.
The Machinist. There's the boxing one that he did. There's
Mhm.
you've got and for anybody listening, my brain doesn't like to work. I can picture the face, but the names always escape me. Interstellar, the lead character of Interstellar.
Matthew McConaughey.
Thank you. Matthew McConaughey, originally typecasted, willingly typecasted, by the way, and he said this during an interview,
Mhm.
willingly typecasted in uh, uh, like love movies. What are they called? Romance. Like a
Yep.
like quirky, cheeky romance.
Rom-coms.
Rom-coms, that's what it is. And then he goes and does a movie about being like a gay cancer patient.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I forget the name of it. But he goes from that to like some kingpin that sells marijuana. To like that was a great
Lincoln
movie, by the way.
Lawyer. Yeah.
To Interstellar.
Yeah.
Like I I no longer like I'll try to maybe look at past roles done, but I care more about how they are on set than what they've been typecast as, because they're typecast as like for a reason, right? Because they're good at that particular type of role,
Mhm.
or that movie blew up, and they're the most recognizable in that role, so they get typecast in it, right? John Wick.
Yep.
Okay. But what it boils down for me, what it boils down to is how are they on set? How are they when the director needs to change things? How are they, how do they act when they get denied a change that they put up? How are they, you know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
how are they as a worker? How are they as an employee for that particular contract on that studio? That's what I care more about. Then
Well, I think that's a big part of it, but it's not like it's a nice to have. There's a reason why people like Daniel Day-Lewis, who's like a fantastic actor, right? And what gets filmed is so fucking fantastic. But then, well, you're dealing with somebody that didn't shower for 3 months while they were filming Gangs of New York because he was in character the entire time. So
and you've
or
also got to
fucking Shia LaBeouf,
hmm
who great actor when it comes to Fury, but literally everybody hated him, and fucking uh, um, Bernthal had to fucking throw him in a shower, because nobody wanted to be around him anymore in the confined spaces of a tank.
Didn't he and Bernthal is Punisher, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so didn't he and Shia actually have an interview on Bernthal's podcast?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Listen to it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've seen some scenes of that where Shia was talking about his recovery and how his wife saved him and so on.
Yeah, I mean, he was a different person, but it's still, he's trying to change because of the hurt that he's brought to a lot of people, whether through his addiction or just, was it his addiction that why he was such an asshole? Well, I mean, he's lumping it in, so yes, but yeah, he's acting very differently now, and he was very into his craft. But the point is, like, you can be the best presence on set and take direction, do everything, and then still be a shitty actor.
No, that's true. That's true. So I guess, well, yeah. But even so, there's just too many. You're right. Okay, but even so, there's too many examples of people just surprising the hell out of everybody.
Yeah.
By just being the best version. Like nobody. I hate using Heath Ledger as the prime example, but he's a ridiculously good example. Like every single Joker variant has been compared to him.
You can switch it to RDJ. So like literally was the Invincible Iron Man for Marvel since 2006, I want to say, was modeled around him. And then Marvel Cinematic Universe was like, maybe we should probably do that. If the comics are doing it, they make him look like him. Fuck it, let's do it.
Yeah.
People already know that that's what Iron Man looks like, and we're giving you a chance because in the past decade you've been a bit of a douche with a crime a criminal rap sheet. So, all right, cool, and turned out to be the biggest payout on a bet. Yeah.
Now what can he do? Like I feel like he's an extreme example because if he literally touches anything else, sure, that's a lot of money, but that's also a lot of money to pay him. It's a lot of potential money for viewership turnout too, but also nobody's going to see him as anything other than Iron Man. I mean, the guy did it for how many years?
He's still Sherlock,
So you're gonna hate this.
You didn't like Sherlock?
No, it was good. Don't get me wrong. I liked him.
Yeah.
I prefer apple bottom Cumbersnatch version.
Yes.
Like,
right.
By far.
That's a difference between a movie and a TV show.
True,
a TV series.
But it's, I mean, yes, but it's acting regardless, right? It's a representation of the same character. Okay?
Yeah.
And, but I don't know. That's me. I like his version better. But
so he is in. Oh shit! He's gonna be in the. I don't know if you saw. They're making an Oppenheimer movie.
I thought I saw that.
So it's gonna be a biofilm, right? And it's yeah. So he's gonna be in it. And Robert Downey Jr. is playing Lewis Strauss. Okay. That's gonna be very fucking interesting.
I'd be interested to know what they Hollywood and what they keep true to historical reference on that one.
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't have much. He did.
I mean, he doesn't need much after Iron Man.
Yeah, I mean, that was 10 years.
He can just do it now just to enjoy acting. now, not to pay
Yeah.
any bills.
But, Tropic Thunder, The Soloist, Sherlock Holmes, Love and Distrust, Due Date. Oh, Due Date was good. Sherlock Holmes, The Judge, Chef. Oh, yeah, with Jon Favreau. Nice Guys. Okay, so about half the movies that he was in were MCU. The other half were something else. I mean, it'll be... Anyway, but back to the fucking Cavill and Homie
Hemsworth.
G.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All that to say that I don't know. I don't know what to expect from him.
I'd like to see him succeed because of he's carrying the mantle, right? I don't want him to fail and then instead of recasting, they're done with the character, because
which is what would
realistically
happen.
Realistically that's what's going to happen.
Yeah.
But I don't have strong happy feelings that that's going to be the case. Yeah. When is season 3 coming out? Do you know?
I don't.
Let's see. Season 3, Witcher. Potential release date. Summer 2023. Okay, so they're going to be filming from now until summer for season 4. Yeah, I'm assuming that this is already in the can. Like, he's already done filming.
Oh, for sure. They wouldn't be making that large of a announcement if the next season that people are already expecting him to be in. And I mean they specified season 4 anyway, so but yeah, he's already done filming or finishing up.
Liam Hemsworth. Oh, homie got jacked. Really jacked. Good for you.
I should hope so. Are those recent
He's on-
images?
Yeah. Well, I mean, Henry Cavill just has phenomenal shoulder width.
Yep.
So
here's what I don't want. Here's what I don't want to have happen. I don't want Liam Hemsworth coming in and trying to replicate Cavill. Like, it's already bad enough that you're replacing him, and that's something we have to deal with. I want to see your best Geralt. I don't want to see your best Henry Cavill. I want to see your best Geralt. It's akin to the conversation we had last season about Stargate, because there was rumors going around of them
rebooting,
rebooting or reintroducing or whatever Stargate SG-1, and I think we both agreed that yes, it would be nice for some callbacks, some nostalgia here and there or whatever, but I want to see today's version of SG-1. I want to see what directors think the story of Stargate should be today. I want to see what they think is important,
So,
the directions they go with it.
I'm gonna bite on this tangent.
Well, I'm only saying that because I don't want Liam to do a repeat of Cavill. I want to see what he thinks Geralt should be. That's the only reason why I bring up Stargate.
Because the series is still ongoing. Okay, but with what you were saying, I don't think SG-1 would do well now.
Probably not. I think I would agree. Well, actually, to be honest with you, I think it would run into the same problem Star Trek Discovery did, where the first season... Now, every single Star Trek series, nobody likes the first season. It's always shit, and it always takes them forever to figure out what they want to do. There's been one exception, and that was Strange New Worlds. Somehow they did the impossible, and their first season has been well received. It's the first people didn't even like Voyager's first season, and Voyager's first season was arguably pretty good, but people didn't really like it either. But Strange New Worlds, people have liked the first season. It is done what it needed to do. But I say all this,
Not gonna lie, I've never even heard of Strange New Worlds.
you should watch it. You should watch it. If you enjoyed TNG or later seasons of Deep Space or Voyager, I think you'll like it. I think you'll like it. They return to there's an overarching series of stories, but it's mainly the story of the week is the big thing. They even did like this, you know how TNG would do like strange episodes that have no impact on the core timeline or anything like that. It just helps flesh out the characters on the ship. You know, Data playing a concert for the ship and realizing how human he is, and so on and so forth. That kind of stuff. Or LaForge falling in love with a hologram of the one that designed the engine for the Enterprise D. That kind of thing. No real impact on the overarching story of the Borg or the Ferengi or anything like that, but it really fleshes out the characters in the ship. Strange New Worlds has already done a couple of episodes like that allow you to connect and have an appreciation for the different characters. Like, there's already been episodes for number 1. There's already been episodes for, I'm going to mispronounce this, Mbaba, or the doctor. I cannot fucking remember his name. But anyway, so it's, I just don't want, like I've said, a Hemsworth version of Cavill. I like, and to your point about Stargate, I think what we've been having a problem with over the past probably 10 or so years, right? With television shows, with movies, is people are too hard into the paint when it comes to nostalgia and are unwilling to tell a new story because it's not my Star Trek, that's not my Stargate, it's not my Witcher. You're fucking right, it's not. That was back then. Go back and watch it. Nobody's stopping you. It's available somewhere, I promise. Go back and watch it. Let new people tell new stories. You know, let today's viewership, just like back when it was your viewership, let today's viewership. Now, don't get me wrong. You know, I'm not saying that it's today's Star Trek. It's ours too, because we're ingesting it, right? We're watching it for the new stories.
Yeah.
You know, it's ours too. But there's a lot of people that scream, "Oh, it's not my this or it's not my that." You're right. It's not. It wasn't back then. It isn't now. You appreciated the story back then. You remember how the story was told back then. Let's find a fresh way to do it. Which is why I actually really liked Discovery. I took issue with some of the technology represented in the first season because it fell directly into the same trap that every single science fiction story ever falls into, that carries over a long period of time, and it doesn't match the technological advances that we go through as a society. Is that when you try to tell a story that is set in a previous time period to a story that was told 25, 30 years ago, you're not, it's going to look out of place because you can show it better than you could then. I think the best representation of that being done right, and some people may or may not agree with me this, I don't know if this is a hot take or not, but Enterprise. I don't know if you're familiar with Enterprise, but it's the captain is Jonathan Archer.
Yeah, got it. What about it is...
They did the best representation of a prequel, because this is before... Yeah. They did the best representation of a prequel while fitting within the technological timeline and still trying to keep up with, at that point in time, that day's expectations for production value.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there is a strong. It's either World War II or it's fucking flying cars.
Yeah,
Like,
it's
there's.
anything any, anything technologically based. If it's similar in any fashion, shape, or form, it's almost like if it's not fringe, where yes, everything is the same technologically as it is at the time of production, but oh,
Mm,
there's encase it in amber. Oh, amber exists, but this is obviously futuristic, so we didn't know what amber could do, and now we do. And so, you know what I mean? Like, that's one of the
yeah.
reasons why Star Trek or even storytelling, to keep it with Witcher, as far as like any comparisons that can be made to like Dungeons and Dragons um, or Lord of the Rings or hell, even Game of Thrones, right? It's not like Lord of the Rings and Dungeons and Dragons were the only ones to expand or try to utilize, elves and dwarves and bollywogs and all that kind of whatever, right? Um, the way that the Witcher books, the way that the games, and now we have 2 seasons worth of representation, of visual representation, storytelling mechanic for how The Witcher is done now, it's gonna be jarring. It's gonna be jarring if they
Mm.
don't do the Netflix thing and cancel after season 3, like you said. It's gonna be jarring, and we're gonna hear as if people have been watching the Witcher series for years and they grew up with it and it's their childhood. Oh, you're ruining this thing. No, but people are gonna act like it because of how jarring it's gonna be. But it's all that to say, people are already up in arms, partially rightly so. Cavill kind of set the bar for how Geralt should be represented in this medium. And you've got to respect that. But there's a lot of people already just shitting all over it, and they haven't even seen see the first episode of Liam Hemsworth's version of Geralt
Hmm.
first. You know what I mean? Have your
Yeah.
have your reservations, but at least see the first episode before you decide this isn't how Geralt should be represented. Blah blah blah. This isn't whatever. Blah blah blah. Like, Geralt went through transformations in the book. He went through transformations in the game. He wasn't the same Geralt in 3 as he was in 1. Like, he's allowed to
So that
change.
is that in itself is the reason why I'm so happy that that Cavill had the solid foundation for because his portrayal makes it so that, oh, I guess I do want to read the books. Like, I never played the games, right? So to me it's like, oh, okay, this is pretty badass. Now I want to find out what was in the book, and then spoiler alert, I don't know if you've seen, CD Projekt Red was thinking of doing Unreal 5 Witcher.
Yeah, and it's actually a good transition into CD Projekt Red and their announcements too. But with as far
So
as Unreal 5 with, was it The
yeah,
Witcher 1 or 3?
one.
Okay,
Yeah.
I
So like
that
from the get-go,
okay that might actually revitalize. For anybody
the
familiar with
entire
me,
series.
well,
Yeah.
for anybody familiar with me, you already know my little soapbox when it comes to Witcher. I want to like the Witcher video games. I've tried every single one, multiple attempts, hours and hours with each attempt, and I just can't. I don't like them, and I don't know why. I want to, and I just don't. Um, but if they're gonna revitalize Witcher 1, I feel like not only has enough time passed, but there's a resurgence for Witcher content, which is even more proof with them announcing 2 more Witcher games and the introduction of
Yep.
multiplayer.
Yep.
I don't know how they're going to do that.
Well, we're all Witchers, the remaining
I
Witchers.
maybe.
Which, okay.
Okay, yeah, I could see that. Um,
Yeah. Can
but
you imagine the RP potential for that?
if so, hear me out.
Go on. Yeah.
Conan the Barbarian video game, whatever, already
Yeah.
exists, right?
Right.
There's a backbone there. It's not that far fetched, as far as mechanics wise. So there's already animations. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like a collab if it hasn't already happened before, and I don't recall if it has or not, I feel like there's at least collab potential, if not in its own game.
Yeah.
But the RP potential is massive with that, absolutely. But as far as the Unreal 5 remake, we'll call it, of Witcher 1, if they can not only, upgrade to a better engine, that should allow them to then masterfully update the mechanics, because the biggest issue with Witcher 1 was just the absolutely clunky magic or sign system they had, and the melee combat was just total dog shit. And it didn't necessarily get any better in 2 either. Arguably much better in 3. But if they do the Unreal 5 thing, there's potential for me maybe getting on board with the Witcher series. But it's as far as Witcher in general, I think the replacement of Cavill is, I would say, a welcome change, but it's still too soon because it's still fresh.
Yeah, well,
and then the Unreal 5
there isn't like a
is a good example
of what?
Of a welcome change.
Yeah,
so you've got like 2 drastically different mediums. Granted, okay, I'll take that, right? So comparing the 2 is kind of unfair, or a lot unfair, considering one is more based on is based on books, and one is strictly the video game. But again, as I said before, Cavill did an amazing job going, okay, people know this name because of the games, but the story we're telling is the books, so I need to connect those 2 audiences, and he fucking did, right?
Yeah.
But when it comes to Witcher 1, that's an entirely different audience, not trying to capture the book audience. So the Unreal 5, very welcome change, because again, that gives them the opportunity to then update all the different mechanics, all the different systems. Now they've got so many tools with Unreal 5 in their belt, not just with looks, but like I said, the whole back end is much better than any engine they used back then. Like, so it's, I don't know what's happening with the IP, I think is what I'm saying. It feels like 15 different directions, because you're talking about multiplayer now, you're talking about remakes, CD Projekt Red doing the remake, which is different than what's been happening for remakes over the past decade. So you're, the remake, if it does go through, you're looking at possibly, I guess this is very obviously very preemptive, but possibly one of the best remakes to be made, since it's being made by the people who made the original game to begin with, so they know what to keep in, what to take out, what to change.
Well, I mean,
hopefully.
we've seen like Nintendo release Soul Silver, Heart Gold, Ruby, right?
Yeah. What was that? Was that Game Freak or something? That
yes,
Yeah.
Game Freak and Nintendo.
Yeah.
So they just updated to the latest. It was the same story, almost carbon copy, just updated. Which
couple new things, to keep the new aspect fresh.
Yeah, because it's no longer whatever original generation it was. Now there's new things to introduce from the later generations, but it's doable. I mean, especially if they do it right, there's riding a wave of interest in the franchise that you do it right, you're going to be set for at least a decade worth of content.
In the past, we talked about I got on a big soapbox about branching games, diverging, either following that curve and keeping true to your original game, but still branching off into new stuff, or doing a hard 90-degree and going from boots on the ground to now we're in space, like. And it's everything is mobile and everything's fast, and I know you're used to feet, but here's a jetpack, and it's like, okay, but where's the transition piece so that your people can get used to this first? And So the reason why I bring that up is the idea of multiplayer in Witcher games. There hasn't even been a co-op unless that's what they're actually talking about. Which, let's multiplayer. Unless they do something like what Red Dead Redemption did, where it's Red Dead 2, big old storyline, gripping storyline, whatever, and then Red Dead Online.
Yeah.
Now, if they separate that, if they GTA this shit, okay, I'm already on board, because that's the introduction to branching off into new mechanics. Is here's a whole separate entity for it. The money, time, all the work gets dedicated to the separate entity while still keeping to what you love about the game.
Yeah.
Then I'm already on board. If that's what they
enough.
do. Yeah. Well, yeah, because like then you get the heart and soul, what I'm there for, or would try to be there for if I liked, the games before. But then here's a playground. Here's a playground established already, because the whole idea of a Witcher, right? There's nothing saying that Geralt wouldn't try to recreate in a safer way without the traumatizing of, kidnapping children and forcing them to, to Dragon Age the shit out of them and force them to drink the corrupted blood to become a warden and all. You know what I mean? Like, it's holy shit. Those are the same stories that just clicked. BioWare. The Witcher is a warden. Oh, wow. That's another topic. We will talk about that, because holy shit. I'm sure there's more comparisons to what I've immediately drawn in my head and haven't said out loud. But anyway, the point that I'm trying to make is the whole idea of branching off away from your established core IP or representation of your IP, like with The Witcher single-player storytelling, right? And they just capstone the shit out of it with Witcher 3. Like, this is single-player storytelling. Same thing with Red Dead 2. And GTA, arguably with storytelling. If they're going to introduce multiplayer, like, it would almost have to be either co-op, and not with Geralt, but he's in it as like a major storytelling plot device, or The Witcher Online, and it's
Witcher Online is probably
it says
the
here
route they're gonna take.
the listing suggests will be a systems-heavy action game with strong emphasis placed on multiplayer combat, procedural generation of some sort. So I guess, okay, maybe they go a different genre, but within the Witcher universe. I'd be okay with that too. Sure. A different way to ingest that lore. I'd be okay with that. It didn't work for me single player, storytelling way, so maybe an RTS or a roguelike or something like that. Sure. As long as you can explain it safely without, destroying well-established lore, either from the books or from the games, then yeah, hell yeah. May as well.
And regardless of what type of game it ends up being, what type of game, it's gonna draw people in.
Oh, for sure.
Whether it's hashtag ad or actually interested to see what the hell did they do with it. Hell, even I'd be interested in checking it out. Both the single and multiplayer aspect to it.
Yeah.
That would be pretty interesting. So I brought up Projekt Red because turns out that there's a rumor going around that Sony's going to buy them out. So it's not a rumor. Sony has approached CD Projekt Red multiple times Hence why CD did that entire thing with announcing several The Witcher games alongside new Cyberpunk. It's to boost their stock before acquisition. So, I saw a couple of articles on this dude that tweeted this, and apparently he's like batting 50-50 on this. He's batting 500.
That's
So,
that's
you know,
unfortunate.
yeah,
But okay, considering Sony's last major purchase,
correct.
it
Yes.
does make sense that is a possible explanation. On the other
Yeah.
hand, counter argument to that, Edgerunners,
Which one was Edgerunners? Is
Cyberpunk. It's the Cyberpunk anime.
Oh, okay.
hmm
I still haven't watched.
I actually watched it.
And?
Oh, it's good. It's
Okay.
it's
All right, I'll watch.
yeah, you should watch it. It's good. Especially if you've played or have any understanding of what's going on in the game.
Yeah.
There's a lot of connections. There's even in-game connections with Edgerunners. There's a whole couple of quests that deal with Edgerunners too.
Yeah.
It's people don't fully understand, I think anyway, the absolutely massive boost that CD Projekt Red got because of Edgerunners. And we could,
I concur with that. I definitely saw like a bunch of people like, oh, now that it's fixed, I'm finally gonna play 2077.
I
Yeah.
now have 70 plus hours in the game since Edgerunners came out.
Yep.
And I have no problem admitting that the idea behind a solid, completely different way to tell a story within the universe, and anybody paying attention should catch a common theme, at least with me, is I'm very forgiving with certain games or genres of games if I like the lore. Okay? If I like the lore and you come up with a different way to present it, I'll probably latch on to that. When Cyberpunk first came out, I tried so hard to play that game. I streamed it for a few weeks, I think, and the bugs, the audacity just got to a point where I couldn't do it anymore, and I quit.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I quit playing it. I tried
the audacity because it was so fucking broken.
Yes,
or...
the audacity that I was dumb enough to buy into the hype, right? Because it was Cyberpunk. Who wouldn't buy into that? Capitalism is bad. We're already seeing late stage capitalism. Blah blah blah. That's late stage capitalism.
Yeah.
That's late stage capitalism, where Arasaka is as equivalent to government as government is, right?
Mm-hmm.
Federal and Arasaka interchangeable. Okay, but what it boiled down to was that's on me, right, for buying into it and not waiting. Okay, but then Edgerunners comes out, and I waited. I did my due diligence this time, and I waited to hear if it was even a story worth entertaining, worth watching. Did they do the Cyberpunk lore justice? Because Cyberpunk itself is a genre. It's not just a video game or, it's super late stage capitalism and robotics. No. It is an actual genre in and of itself, right? And it can encompass any variation of that, of CD Projekt Red's representation. And it's a beloved genre. People have enjoyed Cyberpunk forever. Okay. So that was yet another reason why I was like, I can't believe that this is what Cyberpunk is going to be remembered for. Not just because of the name, but this. Well, now, with Edgerunners, with the fixes that they have done, with the DLC coming in, there is an expansion coming out. It's the only one planned for it. There is a Cyberpunk 2, codenamed Orion, that is in the planning stages right now, whiteboarding, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, I'm excited for that now. I wouldn't have been last year. I am now.
Yeah, and I mean that's based off of Edgerunners, or is it based off of them actually updating?
Both. Because Edgerunners shows me that they at least know how to fab out good writers.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
They know who to trust for external medium storytelling for their IP or for their version of their IP. Okay.
Yeah.
But the biggest thing that has me excited for Orion is what the things they have fixed and the implementations they have done, regardless of CD Projekt Red's and at some point maybe this will be a burner episode topic, the idea behind crunch. Okay. I'm not going to get into it right now, but CD Projekt Red has been called out for crunch time, for just a few lying to us, obviously, misrepresenting. What's it called? Where you promise one thing but you don't sell it?
False advertisement.
False advertisement. Rightfully so, I think. As far as their first iteration of Cyberpunk, and I will not go so bold as to say that it is equivalent to Hello Games and No Man's Sky. But I will say that its current iteration, even with its included bugs, is what should have been launched. If what we have now in Cyberpunk 2077, current day, whenever, so the time that this episode comes out, right? This version of Cyberpunk, if this is what we got at launch,
yeah,
yes, we'd still be talking about Cyberpunk, and not for any other reason than expansions, DLCs, multiple seasons of Edgerunners, live action. You know what I mean? Like, we'd be getting the Witcher treatment to this.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's sad.
It is, because anybody that's played the game, that's given it a fair shot, knows how many fucking stories are in this game, dude.
Yeah.
There's a whole quest line dedicated to a seemingly sentient AI within a fucking vending machine.
Mm-hmm.
And I've played that quest line to its fruition.
Mm-hmm.
Solid twist at the end, my guy. Pretty fucking good.
Okay.
It's simple. It's not what you think it's going to be. But it's pretty good. It was a nice capstone on an otherwise, that's quirky, quest line. That in and of itself could be, that's an episode of Edgerunners. Something similar to that. Right? You know what I mean? Like, there is so much storytelling potential for comics, for novels, for more animated series, for a live action series, for fucking movie, for expansions, for this, that, and the other thing. So, at the very least, I will give CD Projekt this, or Projekt Red, to keep it with what you were calling it. I'll give them this. The fact that they are now announcing Orion. They at least had the wherewithal to know a good time and place to announce a sequel.
Yeah. Well, if it's not for literally the purpose of blowing their numbers up so that if Sony is to purchase them, right? Let's see, what are they worth right now? So their stock is 6.44, over 2 billion. This article is pre 2077, so yeah, I mean, so this is from July, claiming 40 billion. It was 40 billion prior to the release of 2077, and it is now worth less than 10 billion So yeah, they're trying to boost their numbers
So they're trying to boost their
for
numbers.
the sale.
They know the absolute lowest Sony would go
Mhm.
for a profitable IP
Yeah.
or a set of IPs in Projekt Red's case, which is what, 3.4, 3.6?
Mm-hmm.
How much did they buy Bungie for?
Yeah, I think 3.6
3.6. So they know that there's a lower
for
limit.
one property.
Yeah,
for one IP.
for a singular IP, right?
Yes.
And with Cyberpunk 2077, the announcement of a possibility of an Unreal 5 remake to Witcher 1, with the Witcher news coming out about Henry Cavill, with all of these things that all leads back to Projekt Red. And I know that the Netflix show isn't, or I believe it's not directly connected to Projekt Red, but because it shares the name, they're going to benefit from it regardless, right?
Mhm.
So
Yeah, I think it ended up being like the author of the books wasn't involved in the video games.
and he kicked himself
but
for
then
that.
Right, but then he jumped on
Mhm.
getting the Netflix treatment. So I'm sure that's going to be the case for everything now.
But all of that,
Where it's considered a package deal, basically, even
Yeah.
if it's not controlled by the same people.
no, but one's going to affect the other.
Yeah.
Like you can't get away from it.
Don't fuck it up. Don't fuck it up,
Yeah,
Liam.
basically.
Don't fuck it up. No pressure, my dude.
You're almost entirely in control of two entirely different variations of an IP. So,
Yeah.
you know, but I can easily see it's a good business move, whether people like hearing that or not. It's a good business
Yeah.
move. Make yourself worth more. Announce
Well,
your
and
shit
we
early.
know that it's not going to end up being a even if it is a shit show, they're going to go down swinging. It's not
Mhm.
like immediately Sony's going to take it and like, oh, okay, well,
Never mind.
shit's done. Yeah, okay. Well, we're just going to shelve it and, get rid of it later,
No.
I guess. We'll sell it as it's not.
If anything, if this rumor is true, wholly benefit to the Witcher series Batman if they can then swing a deal to purchase Witcher from Netflix, because Sony's whole back end for production, for
Yeah.
movies, for series. I mean, there's already talks for a Destiny series or movie. I can't remember which
Mhm.
one. So it's like, if it's true, yes, the idea
So
of another big
Netflix
company buying
is-
stuff up is a bad idea, sure. At the same time,
Netflix has more money than Sony. Netflix is at 131.6 and Sony is at 87.
yes, but Netflix also just throws everything against the wall to see what sticks.
Yeah.
So their production value wanes back and forth, their storytelling wanes back and forth. Whereas Sony, there's already an expectation. Whether you liked all the Spider-Man movies that they've made, whether you liked anything else they've made, there's at least a consistent level of production, right, that you can expect from them.
Mm-hmm.
So as long as they do their homework, or upload the right people onto the contract, nudge nudge, wink wink, everybody affiliated with the Netflix show right now, because at least it's a decent storytelling, then they're only setting themselves up for success. Even though they're worth less, I feel like they have more connections than Netflix does. Netflix has more money, so they can buy more actors, sure. But let's look at directors, let's look at crews, let's look at access to sets. Like Sony has tenure, whereas Netflix is just new money. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I look forward to seeing what happens. First off,
It would be interesting to do like a Liam takes over for season 4 and 5, and then for the movie, it's back to Henry.
and then, dude, they acknowledge because of teleportation, which is in the lore. I wonder if broken realities are in the lore as well.
Yeah, like it's
Because
just
wholly connected universe, right?
yeah.
But that just proves that there's so many things that can be done here, but
Yeah.
it has to be done right. And if this rumor is true, hey, you know what? Again, I get it. Major corporation buying up yet another. I get that's viewed as a negative. I truly do understand that. And I, for one, am a proponent for capitalism, but I'm a proponent more for competition, right?
Yes.
I want to see more competition to raise up capitalism, not 6 or 7 companies and that's it.
Mhm.
At the same time, I really want to see this IP and Cyberpunk. Now that I've dived into Cyberpunk,
Mhm.
I grew connected, no shit, to a character for a large series, a massive amount of, not massive, a large amount of the latest time that I've put into Cyberpunk. I'd say probably 10 or 12 hours worth of my playthrough. I have grown borderline emotionally attached to a particular character.
Okay.
And it's, and without spoiling
Unexpected?
anything, very unexpected. But
Okay.
without spoiling anything, it's a love interest of V, or can be a love
Yeah.
interest if you play the storyline correctly.
Yeah.
And I played it in such a way that I fucking earned that love interest.
Mhm.
I earned it, and I was like, this is a solid relationship in a video game. I have had a solid
It's not
relationship in a
like
video game.
what's the is it Preston? Is it the leader of the
Oh
Minuteman
yeah,
in
no,
Fallout
that's, oh my
4?
god, that's one
Is it
thing
Preston?
Bethesda. Yeah, it's
So
Preston.
did I ever tell you about my relationship with Preston?
No,
No. So you're making it sound like you had to make this person trust you,
yes,
right? To a level. Right. Okay. So in my playthrough of Fallout 4, we went on so many adventures, and like, he was my dude. I was either using him or dog meat, because at least he shot in the general direction of the enemy,
Yep.
and at least I could use him to tell me where people were, whereas some of the other accomplices were not that good. So anyway, after a couple of battles, like we killed a death claw together, and the dialogue that he presented was very much like battle buddy, like a bro that you just went through the shit with. And it was like, hey man, wow, that was a close one, really glad you're here with me. And my answer to him was like, yeah, same here, man.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, like fuck yeah, we did this together. Well,
And then you have told me about this.
we went back to our hometown, or my hometown, and as we're walking the dinghy bridge into the frickin' town, it cuts into a cinematic, and it turns me around, and it's presenting dialogue, and it's like, yeah, I just wanted to tell you that we're the friendship that I've developed with you while being out there is probably one of the strongest ones that I've ever known, or something like that, right? And I'm like, yeah, same
Hell
here.
yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
yeah. And then you froze. There
Did
you
I?
go.
Am I back? Okay.
Yeah, you're back. You're back. And then it went into to the whole, you guys are in love now. And I was like,
Wait.
What?
Hang on.
Excuse me? What's happening now? And it was,
Now you are together. Amen.
we were.
Mhm.
And he called me honey and like other names.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like,
So
Oh, I thought we were just friends. I thought we were battle buddies. I thought we were gonna go get some ale.
so
But no, that's not at all what happened.
so my relationship with this particular character in Cyberpunk. Yes, there's relationships you can have in Cyberpunk that are very point and click like that, right? Very, very straightforward. We are together now. That's it, right? But there are other options available, and we're getting into this tangent to really show you that I want both The Witcher, even though I didn't appreciate the games, I still want The Witcher and Cyberpunk IPs to progress. I want them to excel. I want to see more of these stories, right? I want to find a way to dive into these IPs, and this is an example of finally being able to dive into the Cyberpunk video game, and actually,
In 2 words, be better.
yeah, and this particular relationship, I did initially think it would be the same process that Bethesda goes through with its relationships, right? Oh, we've been together in the same mission over and over and over again. Eventually, we're just going to be together, and she's my wife now, forever and ever, amen. No, that was not the case, because at one point we'd been on many missions together. I was starting to really enjoy her personality. I was starting to enjoy her quips, the way that her and I played off of each other, which speaks volumes to the dialogue, by the way, the writing of the dialogue, and the way that your conversation options, the way that your character actually said them and so on. It was like, I actually, maybe slightly different inflection, but yeah, that's what I meant to say. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
At one point I made a move and she was like, no,
No thanks.
you are a good friend, and I can't tell you how much I appreciate you, basically being that rock for me right now in these trying times. You've been my egg. You know what I mean? But you don't want this, and this isn't going to work.
No.
But I look forward to seeing you at the location of the next mission, okay? All right, let's go ahead and let's go to sleep.
Right,
Let's continue through this mission.
Don't touch me. But okay.
Thanks. And I was like, I was hurt. I was like, I feel embarrassed. And so the next mission comes up, and I have the opportunity to discuss it.
Yeah.
Or not. And the way that they did her character, the way the relationship has been building up, she would have been totally fine with me accepting what she said at face value, because that's how she presented it. That's how she expected me to take it.
Right.
But I pressed it. I apologized. I said, look, I'm sorry. I do feel these things. And she goes, look, it's not that I do or don't. It's my personality, blah, 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 conversation, discussion, blah, blah, blah. I don't want to do that to you. I really like our friendship. I like what we have. And I don't want to alienate that. And I was like, bitch, I do. And she was like, well, you're going to hate me. And I'm like, don't talk for me. I love you, bitch. I'll never stop loving you, bitch. You know what I mean? But I was able to get to that point in a storytelling, or it could have not been that, and we would have been best friends forever, because we went through some shit together. You know what I mean? So it actually allowed the player to decide, do I want to go with this relationship and possibly ruin a friendship, right? Because now that there's several branches leading up to this, and convoluted, complicated emotions being played into this, maybe there's a time later on towards the end of her quest chain where I could totally destroy this relationship, and we won't be friends anymore either as a result. Like, I was convinced that was going to happen, so I worked to...
You shot your shot.
I shot my shot, and it failed miserably starting off, and then I was like, no, let me reload. Hang on, I have a better angle now. Let me just try this again. And it worked. And it still, even later on, brought up scenarios where, had I not created that relationship, we very well could have not been friends anymore either, because there was a couple
Mhm.
times I had to bring her back down to reality or keep her from doing something she'd regret or so on and so forth. But we had
Right.
established this. So I go into that tangent to try to help provide some context to, I hated the game because nothing was there they said would be there. That storytelling wasn't there. I was routinely pulled out of enjoying myself, routinely pulled out of my immersion, right? Just it was like just hand over fist. It was terrible.
Mhm.
And that's not to say that everything's been fixed. The police, the Night City PD, they're still dog shit. Driving is still fucking terrible. But I'm allowed to actually envelop myself in the story now, because enough of everything else has been fixed. So it's like, and then Edgerunners comes out, and I'm like, God damn it, they do actually know what they're doing with their IP, or they at least know how to
Yeah.
hand it off to people that do know what they're doing with their IP. Like, okay, yes, now is a good time to announce, hey, we're thinking about a sequel, and it's codenamed Orion because we're whiteboarding it now. You know, and by the way, there's the one and only expansion coming out, which was smart, like SMRT
Yeah.
smart. One and only expansion coming out. And guess who it deals with? You've been dealing with Arasaka, you've been dealing with Miltech, you've been dealing with Militech, you've been dealing with all these corporations. Where'd the government go, though?
Mm.
Boo boo.
Mm.
They have not been silent. They've been little bitches, and they may as well be a tiny corporation compared to everybody else, but they have not been silent, and here's a fucking expansion. So it's like,
Well, there you go.
it's this rumor, if Sony does buy them up, that's just more money. That's just more money. That is more time to dedicate. That is more personnel to dedicate. That is
Yeah.
just more money. And that is me saying that, removing the moral implications of
Well,
another
is
corporation buying something up.
So, because capitalism is bad, okay,
Mhm, mhm.
are we looking at the online monetization of Cyberpunk
No,
for like
No.
multiplayer of some sort?
not for 2077 at least. I think the
Okay.
expansion that's coming out, I think that is the end of
Yeah.
Cyberpunk. I think it is. And I think Edgerunners coming out shows the potential, especially realizing how well received it was,
Yeah.
the potential to end something, because it ended. There is no coming back for that show.
Right.
It ended. Okay. Cyberpunk 2077 is going to end. There's replayability in there somewhere to a degree, sure. If you're
Yeah.
into the dialogue and the different ways certain things can be said, and certain outcomes can be different based on how you started the game and so on and so forth, right? Sure. There's repetition there, but at the end of the day, it's going to end. And they are going to move on to the next Cyberpunk. And hopefully, if they're smart, that'll end too. Because they're not ready for Cyberpunk Online. No. They have
Well,
not. They've.
I'm just thinking, like, how is Sony gonna get their money back?
Sony's going to get their money back through live action adaptation, through a movie, through another miniseries, through an offshoot game that deals with a character from, Edgerunners, or from or another, because V should not continue. If they do this right and they keep to the theme that they created for this version of Cyberpunk, V should not continue. V's story should end. 110%, his should end, right? I don't know if that'll happen or not with Orion. I honestly look forward to seeing if it does or not. I wouldn't mind V continuing, but if they want to keep the storytelling as good as it has been, or as good as I've experienced it anyway, V will be done after this expansion, but we won't see him again. Maybe in passing, if he's still alive. I haven't actually finished the main storyline in Cyberpunk, and I'm 70 hours in. But I am max level, max streak red level. I've almost maxed out all the other things that you can max out, and I am taking my time with the story, and I am fleshing V out as a character within this world because I want his decisions to have the actual impact that they want them to have, which means that I need to have time spent with V. I need to have time spent in Night City. I need to form relationships. I need to end relationships. I need to do this, right, for my choices to have impact. But when it comes to Sony, they have options to get their money back, just like they have options to get their money back with Destiny. They absolutely. Now, granted, it's all within a different medium. Okay, let the development studios keep control and be the only ones to produce video games. But holy shit, please run with the television shows, with the movies, with the one-offs. Please do. I want to see graphic novels. I want to see some books. You know what I mean? Like, I want to see some shit. There are so many mediums.
The full multimedia package.
Yes, absolutely. There are so many mediums Sony can go with both Destiny and now, if the rumors are true, with Bungie and Projekt Red. And I want to see them do it. I want to see them do it. I think they've got a gold mine here. They've got a gold mine. CD Projekt Red is already recovering a little bit, especially because of Edgerunners. Actually, almost entirely because of Edgerunners right now.
Yeah.
But they are recovering some of that lost faith.
I mean, I wouldn't just leave it up to Sony. I think if they were purchased out by Microsoft or another large corporation, but Sony seems to be, well, I mean, Sony and Microsoft have both been buying everything up, going full Disney on things.
I feel like Sony is a better fit though. So if, out of the two, if there's only two choices, right? There's only red or blue, right? Sony is the better fit, and it's because of their media production. Right? Yeah. They touch in music, they touch in sound effects.
Yeah, Microsoft's prior attempts, like when they originally were gonna do the Halo movie, and then it just fell through. It was strictly because of Microsoft, and they have no one else to blame but themselves. So
what do you think about the series then?
I never watched it.
That's a shame. I never watched it either. I had no desire to whatsoever.
Well,
I have seen fan-made 5-minute long YouTube videos that look exponentially better than anything I've seen of the series.
So fucking sad.
It is.
Well, I gotta go.
Yeah, we are at the time. Anyway.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate anybody that's watched up to this point in the episode. Check the video description below for our links to our Twitch channels. Wait for the end card for previous episodes that you may or may not like. Like the video if you liked it. Please subscribe if you want to. If you want to click the bell notification, you can. I know you're supposed to for algorithm's sake. I fucking don't. But that's up to you. But please subscribe, please like or dislike. It helps us either way. We're
uploading every Wednesday, so
every Wednesday, 6 a.m. Eastern Standard.
And look for us on Twitch here and there. But anywho, love you, dude.
Love you too, brother. Thanks for hanging out with me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, appreciate you. All right, guys, take care of yourself so you can take care of others. See you tomorrow or whenever next week.
Yeah, next week. Yeah. Bye.
Next week, bye.
Bye.